John, you can start sharing.
Okay.
There's my YouTube notification.
Is your switcher up? So
I will put that up.
remember how you have to start it.
Yes, sir.
Share this device screen. Oh,
Start broadcast.
yes.
Yippee!
There we go. Now I've added you, so now you can go do whatever. Go to other screens too.
Thank you. Okay. Chance Post is watching with us. Chances are you're on.
All right.
And cue your intro.
15 seconds. Live from VentureX Studios in Frisco, Texas. It's JP, Kathy, and the crew. Yeah, you're there.
Is it now?
There.
It is now. Good morning to you, the crew. Good morning to JP, who is on the road. That's why you see the proverbial Zoom picture next to me live. JP. Why am I talking like this morning? I don't know. And we can't hear him either. Huh. Well, as we get JP back on, hello. Happy Monday to you, the crew. Tons today. We've got Dr. Norm Clothier, flu misconceptions, challenges with COVID and college. And then we also have one of our new shows that is starting, Creative Arts for Christ. And we've got Crystal Griffith, who will be joining us at 8:30 to talk about and promote her new show. Super excited about that. Lots of sports to talk about, lots of political things to talk about. We are 50 days out from either re-electing President Donald Trump, or I won't even say the other thing. There you go. How about that? We're 50 days out from the presidential election. I think I do hear JP. Do I hear you?
Yeah,
There you
some reason
are.
it muted. I got JP, Kathy, and the crew muted. I don't know what
Hey, and
happened.
Dr. Clothier said he is in the meeting room, the waiting room. So, okay.
You know what's
Yep.
fun is there's no doubt that everybody's gotten used to what that Zoom picture looks like now, with almost 9 months in the books of doing COVID-19 distance remote work and business. But I didn't know this. I'm in the passenger seat, not driving, right, Kathy?
Right. That's what you say. We have not seen live video to prove it, so okay.
Well, but I'm not. And it won't let me. Zoom will not let me go into video mode. It goes into safe driving mode automatically.
Oh, interesting. Even though you're the passenger.
Even though I'm the passenger.
That's interesting because on
That's very interesting.
Pokemon Go, okay, so this is my reference to everything in life. So on Pokemon Go, you can still collect Pokemon, and you can go to your Pokestops, but it says you are driving, and it tells you what speed you're driving at. Basically, it knows you're driving, faster than 1 mile an hour, and it says, "Are you a passenger and are you safe?" So that's interesting. It doesn't even have that feature for Zoom.
It does not. It just says that you are in safe driving mode.
I wonder
So
if
very
that may be
interesting.
something on your phone.
It's the man.
No, I don't.
Well,
I don't
because
have the
man controlling you.
Gus was able to put us up on his little hookup thing on Friday, and we got
Well,
to
and
see
I-
him.
Yeah, but he was sitting still in the parking lot. He was parked someplace. I could tell there was no
Yeah,
stuff
see, I was
moving
sitting-
behind him.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
But I think I know somebody who is not sitting still, who's always on top of medicine. That would be Dr. Norm Clothier,
Dr.
from Family
Clothier.
Healthcare Associates.
Yeah, let me get him in here.
Good morning, Dr. Clothier.
He's about to hop on.
Just a second. I'm connecting with him.
And Dr. Clothier is talking about COVID challenges with college, and he is also talking about flu misconceptions, which I would imagine this year will be more ginormous of an issue for medical doctors than it is for has been in past years. He is always coming on our show having to dispel myths about the flu, so I can't even imagine what he and other doctors and medical personnel will be dealing with this flu season, which has already started.
I've got an interesting COVID-19 question to ask him as well, in regards to what's going on with the practice of medicine and people coming in with being sick on other things.
Yeah.
So, very curious. So, do we have Dr. Norm Clothier with us?
We do.
Yes.
Good morning.
Dr. Clothier, good morning.
Yeah, I'm right here. Very good. Good morning.
Well, let me ask you this question, Dr. Clothier, because it's just been something that's been tickling me for the last 4 or 5 days. And that is, I've got a friend who called in that did the telehealth to see her doctor. And the doctor told her that her symptoms sounded like COVID-19, told her that he would not treat her for bronchitis or anything else until she took her test. She went and took her test 3 days later, it came back negative, and still refused to treat her for bronchitis. Is that something that's becoming common with doctors?
No. I mean, the thing with doctors is we're all trained to be independently thinking about each patient. It's not an across the board. There's a great deal of desire to treat each patient for what they have, what their symptoms are, and who they are, not follow specific protocols. Now, I don't know what they were thinking there. I personally, given that description, would say that sounds like something probably treatable. The problem I find is a lot of people declare what they have, and then when I hear their symptoms, I don't think they have that. So if they call in or, one of the great temptations, I think, of telemedicine is sort of name your own treatment. I'll find people will contact me and get on and say, oh, I have poison ivy, I need steroids. And I'll think, well, let's, at least talk about the rash first and see what's going on before we just declare that. And, similarly with bronchitis, there are a lot of reasons to cough, but if you're not having a productive cough or, other indicators, I don't know that that's necessarily treatable either without individually seeing or reviewing that patient. So I'm a little reluctant to just say, oh yeah, scumbag should have put her on antibiotics, whatever. I don't think that's necessarily a fair thing to declare without the information.
Well, and that's the teledoc, right, JP? Because you can't listen to somebody's lungs via teledoc.
Well, so that's true. And so she saw a second doctor, and the doctor listened to her over the whatever it is they use, telephone or video conferencing, and did say that it sounded like bronchitis and that her symptoms were bronchitis, and did issue finally an antibiotic or whatever he issued for her. And she's starting to get better now.
Well, that's
but I just thought it was interesting.
I have a few thoughts there, honestly. One is there is clinical judgment, and maybe she didn't have any noise in her chest or productive cough at that 3-day mark. It's possible. And then maybe she got worse, got a secondary infection. The second thing is a number of studies show bronchitis clears as quickly without an antibiotic as with one. Now, most everybody I know wants one because, they're popular. And if you're well in 3 or 4 or 5 days, maybe it was antibiotic, maybe it wasn't. And, then my other thought there, I'm not sure what kind of computer the guy has to listen over the telemedicine visit, but I'm impressed. I mean, I haven't found a way to get my stethoscope through the camera yet. And, maybe the individual is able to hold the phone up to her chest or something and get a really quality audio. I think that's pretty impressive.
Well, you just have to enter the matrix, Dr. Clothier.
Yeah, apparently so.
That was not in your medical school. Doggone it.
Maybe they're using.
Yeah, and I may have entered the Twilight Zone. I don't know, but the challenge is all over medical literature is the idea to not overuse antibiotics, because we get resistance, we get, challenges of side effects. There are allergic reactions you can't see coming until they occur. And, it's just a little bit of a minefield. Now, it's a minor compared to some things, a minor minefield. But I also think, it's kind of like when we're on call and get calls in the middle of the night, somebody will call and say, oh, I need an antibiotic, called in because I was coughing this evening. And, I just don't think it's that simple. I think you've got to put all the symptoms together and see what happens. Now, I also think if you're, a week into a cough and you get well, it may have been time. It may have been the second doctor treating her. It may have been, allergies went down or pollen went down. It's just hard to judge a single case assessment. And I am happy I don't have to judge other people based on outcomes each time, because I think it's a challenge. I would suggest, that individual is sticking with the same second doctor may or may not get well next time. Maybe, I don't know if changing doctors then will make her well, but, I think it all goes into the big picture of assessing an individual for who they are. And that's one reason in medicine, we really don't like the idea of like a computer algorithm to treat somebody where you just kind of enter symptoms, or, even like a minute clinic where they'll find the product they sell in the store to treat you is sort of the perspective or the perception that we have on that. I think you've got to put everything together. And I also think a lot of people with a normal viral illness or allergies, a few days into it, may develop a secondary infection that's absolutely treatable with antibiotics, but that may not be apparent within that first 2 or 3 or 4 days.
Well, I wanted to kick us off with that question. I thought it was interesting, and was chatting with these individuals. And again, telehealth, I don't know that we've got that completely nailed down yet.
Oh, no. No, I'll answer that one for you. We don't. There are a number of problems. One is many people have connection difficulties, and it may be like a 12-second delay between a comment and getting that audio over. And it's a complicated visit as it is. The second thing is I really want to know how the guy listened to the lungs of that individual, because I barely can get audio connection that's relatively feedback free. And, many people have a fan on in the background, and they got, a dog yelping, and, I'm all for those things. I think in their home they can have noise, but it really makes it difficult. And, I've even had people like try to hold up their phone to their ear so I can see their ear. You can't see in an ear over the the phone or the computer. It's implausible. And then the next challenge I have is, even doing medication checks. I say, well, I'm on my cholesterol medicine. I need it refilled. And, I'll sit there and think, well, we have no idea what their cholesterol is, what their liver enzymes are. Similar situation happens with blood pressure. People say, oh, I need my blood pressure medicine refilled. I'm happy they want to refill it. But I'll say, well, what's your blood pressure? Oh, I don't know. I don't check. And I think, we don't know what we're treating sometimes over the telemedicine visit. But I tell you, the challenge for doctors is you're just as liable for that person's outcome, even if you can't check anything. If you have no vitals, you have no, weight, blood pressure, and, it's a challenge. I know it's convenient. Some people out away from risk with the COVID-19 pandemic situation. And I think we need to do it because a lot of my patients really are not getting out of their homes. But I think it's marginal, honestly. And I think we all have to be honest about that. If somebody says, oh, I've got this, abdominal pain and I want you to assess it, you can't assess that over the camera. You can offer ideas and clues, and you can listen to symptoms, but you can't examine and put all the pieces together.
Well, speaking of putting all the pieces together, we did not just say the same thing at the same time. We both just said, speaking of putting all the pieces together. Did you get that,
Oh,
JP?
wow. You two have been at this a little long.
He's on the road in another state, Dr. Clothier,
ESP,
and we
man.
literally just said the same segue line.
Wow.
Go ahead, JP.
Well, a cloned brain knows no barriers.
Isn't that the truth? Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you. So with the university situation, We hear and we see news cameras on campuses, and look at all these students without masks, and COVID-19 spread across the world. I mean, and all the universities need to just shut back down and send their kids home. Oh my goodness, Dr. Clothier.
Well, I'll try. I'm going to try to provide a little clarity of that, because I think it is difficult. And I'll tell you, from my perspective, I have 2 children in college right now, one in dental school, and so 3 of them are on campuses, and I think it's a significant challenge, because you have a young population that obviously, initially into the pandemic heard, younger people aren't very susceptible. And, that was the early evidence. And we do definitely feel the more mature individuals, shall we say, is more susceptible, and people with known other health risk factors. But the problem is we got a lot of young people coming from various areas of the country to a campus. And I personally was very excited to get to see some college football on Saturday. It just seems like we need a little relief from some of the stress of the pandemic and such, but the problem, even with 25% crowds, those crowds were together. They were clustered, and they, some had masks on, some didn't. Some were in faces, some were more like 2 feet from faces, but not socially distanced. And that, to me, represents the issues. You advertise, we're going to be spread apart, we're going to be careful, you must wear a mask, and then the reality is gone very quickly. And they're currently, the most recent CDC estimate I read on the numbers is that there are 50,000 college students on college campuses right now in America that are positive for coronavirus. Now, I can tell you it's clearly higher than that, because if they've tested and found positives on 50,000, not everyone's getting tested, because there still just aren't readily available tests. And so what seems to be happening, obviously, is like, for instance, at Texas Tech, there were 30 cases going into orientation day that they knew of, and they socially isolated and they quarantined them. Within a week, there were 430 cases, and, it keeps going up. So the debate then is, do you keep them on campus, which Dr. Fauci recommends, because otherwise they go back to their communities and spread things more. But where do you keep them on campus if you have 200 isolation rooms, essentially, and you got 430 positives? So, the whole thing is extremely complicated, and I can't imagine that we'll get through the semester without more schools shutting down somehow. It may be isolation to dorms only and online classes. It may be sending people home, which again seems to be a little riskier. Most of those people are going to recover fine, statistically. The nightmare is not all of them are going to. So, it's really a difficult situation. The microanalysis of that has been that smaller colleges, which makes sense, are doing a better job because they don't have the large numbers. Places like Michigan State, they have essentially shut down, and they've shut some of the fraternity and sorority homes. And, it's just gone nuts there. University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill sent everybody home just like 9 days into the semester. I think we've talked a lot about K through 12 school challenges, but the college challenge is huge. And even the campuses, they're saying, stay here, stay on campus, don't go out to the community, don't go home for the weekend. That's a great idea on paper. That's not very enforceable. If you have an older, sibling having a baby one weekend or a wedding or something, you're not going to say they're on campus and miss that. It's just, there are all kinds of pools to people. So I think what we all have to do is try to get to a level of peace where we realize this is a virus that's around. And, there may be bad outcomes. There are bad outcomes from driving a car. There are bad outcomes from having asthma and having, an asthma attack that can be significant or fatal. There are all kinds of bad outcomes in our lives that are possible. What we want to do is mitigate those to being, very unlikely if we can. And so the social distancing, hand washing, masks are still the most appropriate, not gathering in large party groups and having, it's sort of an infection opportunity. But I think we just have to realize there are going to be some bad outcomes out there, but they're going to be mostly recoveries. much like influenza. The biggest challenge I find is that with influenza, you basically get it and die, or you get it and recover. There's not sort of a chronic influenza syndrome. What we don't know with the coronavirus at this point is whether there'll be a long-term, sort of a set of chronic issues. The myocarditis, the infection of the heart lining, really, or heart muscle, is really a scary thing. There appear to be some people with chronic lung damage, maybe even chronic kidney damage. We just don't know yet, because it's this week it'll be 10 months on the 17th since COVID-19 was genotyped, and we don't even have experience yet with somebody with a year of history of infection. So, we just got to gather more information.
So, Dr. Clothier, I saw an article in the paper where the chief of the Allen Fire Department has participated in a vaccine, not survey,
trial.
Vaccine trial.
Yeah.
And, I know that I got the flu a couple, 2 or 3 years back. You had given me my flu shot. I went in, I tested positive for the flu, but I tested positive for the strand that they did not give the vaccine for the flu that year. They gave the other vaccine. And I asked you, I said, well, does it matter? And you said, yes, it definitely lessens your symptoms that you may have. Is that what we're going to be looking at with the coronavirus as well?
Oh,
is that?
Yeah, I just can't foresee, at least in the immediate future, meaning a year probably, that we'll have a perfect vaccine. I think that's really hard to come by. There have been some incredible results with poliovirus vaccine, tetanus. We nearly never see polio or tetanus in the United States because of the vaccine program. It's almost always somebody who's entered the U.S. without a vaccine history, or somebody who's an anti-vaxxer and they get the infection. So, those have been wildly successful, but they've also been fine-tuned through many years of investigation and, processing with that of advancement. And those also are not very mutable. Well, in fact, tetanus is a toxin. It's not a virus or a bacteria. And so it's always the same, so you can get a vaccine against that. When you have something like the flu or coronavirus, it mutates. And so what happens is the epidemiologists who follow these things all the time look at the flu that's on the other side of the world when we're in the summertime, the southern hemisphere, when it's winter time and the flu is there. They do their best to predict the strains that'll appear in North America or the northern hemisphere. And they process that over several months, make the vaccine. It takes about 5 months. And then we get vaccinated and we have pretty good protection. It's not perfect because other strains can sneak in. There also are things like para-influenza, which, as it sounds, is like influenza, but it's not specifically influenza. Can make you almost as sick, but not quite as sick. There are just a lot of viruses out there. But the challenge is we will never reach 100% coverage, I believe, on influenza because it does mutate. What was a big strain, say, in New Zealand in our summertime, or spring, like April, so that it could be put into the shot that comes out in September, may have changed by the time it gets to North America. And so you get partial coverage, and there's also a lot of evidence that we can get kind of a built-up immunity if you get the flu shot year after year. Someone like me, I never get the flu. I've had the flu shot now for 30 plus years each year. And, there seems to be a lot of crossover. And if you get sick, you're not devastatingly sick. When I see somebody with the flu who has not had a flu shot, they are so sick. They barely can get back into the office and to an exam room. As you recall, you were alive enough to remember what I actually said to you, which is impressive because you'd had the flu shot and you were sick, but you weren't devastatingly ill, and I often say I feel like I can diagnose the flu from across the parking lot, because if you see somebody getting out of a car and they have to stop and rest before they can even shut their door, they're sick, and most people who get the flu shot and still get the flu are at least upright talking and saying, boy, I just don't feel very good. And, and they may have the flu, but they're not nearly as ill.
It's not as bad. Well, and Dr. Clothier, I just want to reiterate, you are a proponent of, even with COVID going on, even with everything we're dealing with, still going and getting that flu shot.
Yes.
It can lessen the severity. And again, like the member of the crew who had bronchitis and is worried about it turning into pneumonia. When your immune system is weak, and I know we discussed this a while back when I had been sick with the stomach flu, and I was also quarantined because I had been exposed very closely to coronavirus. So self-quarantined, ended up didn't have coronavirus, but the doctor had told me your immune system is so weak from such a bad stomach flu. If I were you, I would go ahead and quarantine 1 extra week. Better safe than sorry, because you're very susceptible. So why wouldn't you get the flu shot? And I know this is a rhetorical question for you, but why wouldn't you get the flu shot when, my goodness, it can help your immune system not be so weak from getting the flu or getting a worse version of the flu?
Yeah, the bottom line, you don't want to get hit on two sides, and that's, there's an interesting article in the morning news this morning talking about the twindemic, the idea of getting coronavirus and the influenza.
Can't imagine.
We don't know yet. It's too early to know what happens when you get both.
Don't want to
But
know.
nobody can predict a good outcome.
Who wants to know that? I mean, in all honesty,
Right.
Do you want to be the one that's on social media saying, well, so got them both and here's what's going on? Nobody wants that. So why not at least avoid the one you can avoid?
Yeah, and let me just reemphasize, because I think it's fair to keep saying over and over and then repeat it and then be redundant concerning it. And that is that the flu shot is so inert and easy and simple and basic. It will not hurt you. When given properly, it's incredibly tolerable, and, it just is simple. And what you don't want to face is something that we know kills thousands of people every winter, and that's influenza. And so, you don't want to add that risk. And I hear all kinds of crazy, comments about, I've never had much luck with that flu shot because, I get the shot and then I don't even end up with the flu, and I wonder, why did I even bother to get the shot? And I'll think, well, you didn't get the flu because you got the shot, but
Right.
People have twisted logic. And I hear all the time, I'm not taking that sorry flu shot because when I got it, I got the flu. And two things are true there. I always say, was that before 1995? And the answer is nearly always yes, because it was a live virus then. It has changed. Your rotary phone is no longer in use in your hand when you walk around with your smartphone. Technology has occurred. And I think it's really an interesting thing. There's such a bias, and people just, think back to that. But that was before 1995. The other is, I find a lot of people tell me, they'll come in like with a sinus infection. They'll say, I told you if I got that flu shot, I get the flu. But they have a sinus infection. They don't have influenza.
Right.
And, that's like 8 weeks later. And, it's just it's an odd perspective on. Truthfully, I think it's really that people just don't realize that influenza can be devastating.
I think
and
you're
I
right.
think all the talk, you always think it's somebody else, not going to be you. And, that's what we just need the perspective that it could be us.
Right.
And you don't want it to be.
Is the death rate on influenza higher than what the coronavirus is?
Well, yeah, that's what's not being talked about much. And to put that in perspective, we don't really have, definite final numbers through a winter season. So
exactly,
because it hasn't really been winter yet since the coronavirus has been known to have entered into American air. So, we don't really have the numbers, but every year in America, there's somewhere around 20 to 40,000 deaths from influenza. And worldwide, that's something like 1.2 million.
Right.
Right now there are about 50 million infections. I believe 970,000 deaths from coronavirus. But that's been, that's a new number. So we don't know if that'll accelerate. But so far, there were more flu deaths in the last year than there have been coronavirus deaths.
Well, Dr. Clothier is always great information. So, again, and I respect you so much for the fact, and JP and I are always commenting on this and complimenting you on this, that you know enough about the coronavirus to know you don't know it all, but you're able to give your patients and the crew good advice. And one of the things, especially in the midst of this pandemic. And we don't know, is it about to get worse now that it's getting cooler weather outside? I mean, there are too many unknown factors. One thing you can tell people that can protect them is get that flu shot, doggone it.
Yes. And do the social distancing, do the mask to protect others, not to protect you, it's to protect others. If you care about somebody else's life, it's worthwhile to put a mask on and prevent potential spread. And wash your hands a lot, and try not to get in a gathering of people in a closed room that will spread the virus around in the air. That, those are the risk factors we know. And I would suggest too, again, as I always try to mention, nutrition, exercise, good, healthy living anyway, high quality things to do to help prevent infection of any sort, including coronavirus and influenza.
Right.
And, just be practical. Don't go and blow it by, being in a group and then go and see your, 98-year-old great aunt and, not protecting her. So it's just really
self-quarantine.
We all need to be responsible.
I mean, if you're going to be, I had, several events where I was around a lot of people, and social distancing wasn't necessarily the easiest thing to do, and wearing a mask the whole time, especially when I was speaking, was not an easy thing to do. So I just made sure that I wasn't around any of my relatives or my friends who had family who had issues.
Yes,
I self-quarantined
others.
myself for a while and turned down a couple of, things that I would have liked to have done, but I was like, just in case. And so I feel like that's where we can step up. The government doesn't need to tell us this. We're smart enough and we care enough about our fellow human being, and especially our family, that we can take your advice and handle it on our own. So, Dr. Clothier, thank you so much for all of the great advice. As always, Dr. Norm Clothier of Family Healthcare Associates, and we hope you have a blessed week, and we look forward to talking with you next Monday.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Clothier. Take care.
Thank you. You too.
So lots going on, Kathy, out in the viral world when it comes to colleges and universities and students. Something else that's gone viral are sports. Boy, I tell you, sports have exploded.
Wait, were there any sports over the weekend? It was weird. It was weird. There were so many sports.
All I can say is hook 'em horns. That's all I can say. By far, they said the most impressive college football outing of the college football season, and the University of Texas breaks into the top 10. They are now ranked number 9.
Well, there you go. Okay.
And Baylor almost broke into the top 20.
They did. Hey, did you already go through and get your coffee?
No, not yet. I'm going to do that live.
When you do, I want you to do it live. I think that'd be funny, and see if the person will, like when you go up to the drive-through part, say, hey, can I put you on camera so you can be on a show? I think that would be funny.
I wonder if the Zoom will let me put it on camera.
Maybe if you're stopped long enough, they'll recognize.
We've got a lot of people. I think it's a setting on your phone, because too many people have said they're doing Zoom meetings from their cars while they're driving. So it may be a safety setting on
John's
your phone.
not driving, though.
I know, but he's in a car going fast. You know what I mean? But I'm saying, okay,
well, I don't know who
Charles,
these people are. I don't know who these people are.
They're members of the crew who have said they've been able to do it. So I wonder if maybe it's a setting like a certain, when you get up to a certain speed, it just shuts down all apps that require facial this, that, or the other. Kind of like you can do on a teenager's phone.
Well, tell them I can go to my settings, so tell me where to go, and I'll go look. But
somebody in the crew, please help JP out.
It says drive.
Ooh, robot John.
Did we get Robot John?
For a second.
Oh.
Not drive safe.
There's
So
Robot
let's talk about the
John.
AP poll, the top 10.
There
So
we
Clemson
go.
University's. What's that, Chuck?
Well, you were
Okay, well,
Robot.
that's
You were
it. So
Robot
I'm
John
stuck.
for a while.
Robot John. So let's round off the top 10. Clemson's ranked number 1 still in the country. Alabama number 2. Number 3, Oklahoma. Number 4, Georgia. Florida, not necessarily the big surprise in the top 10. Played good football last year. Had a good end of the season. LSU ranked number 6. A little surprised there. Surprised LSU did not break into the top 5. Number 7, Notre Dame. Can't figure this out. Why is everybody so big on Notre Dame?
Because it's Jesus's team. Don't get me started. I'm Catholic.
Well,
Charles
I
is
said you are.
Catholic.
It's also
Come
Regis's.
on, man.
It's Regis Philbin's team too.
Okay, well, but and I love
Yeah.
Regis, but he's not up to the status that Jesus is. So there
He's
you
talking
go.
to him now, maybe, hopefully.
They're hanging out now. I feel quite confident
So
about that.
number-
Regis was a good man. He was a godly man.
I just don't see Notre Dame staying in the top 10 for very long. I could be wrong, because you're right. It is Jesus' team. But we'll have to see. Number 8, Auburn is ranked number 8. Number 9, Texas. All right, okay. Number 10, Texas A&M rounds out the top 10. Probably of note, one of the schools that I'm a little bit surprised at is number 22, Army. Army breaks into the top 25 over Baylor University. A little surprised by that. But nonetheless, they are there. Some notables that did receive votes. Baylor University was number 26 if there would have been a number 26. Texas Tech received some votes. Missouri and even Marshall received votes to be in the top 25. So SMU also received votes as well to be in the top 25, but just didn't break into the top 25. So, Kathy, did you get to watch any college football this weekend?
Not really. I didn't watch much college football. I was watching I watched some baseball. Watched the Astros play. I'm sure we'll talk about the NFL here in a little while because I'm dying to get the crew's opinion on NFL and what's going to happen there. And then when you get back in town, we need to talk about our paper football league so we can have some fun because I think there are quite a few members of the crew who they're done. They're already done with the NFL. Just one and done. That's it. And one and done in a bad way. And then, of course, I am anxiously awaiting and ready to talk about a certain game, number 7 tonight for the Dallas Stars.
Whoop, whoop.
Holy
No,
Toledo
game
Batman.
number 5.
No, this is for all the marbles. This is for I believe. I mean, I'll double check, but I believe this is number 7. This is.
And I think this is game 5, and the Stars are leading 3-1 in the series.
Well, I just
So
know.
if they
Well,
win-
no. You're right. You're right. I know we need one game. If we win tonight, we're in the Stanley Cup.
That's correct. Right now we're up
So
3
is this
games
so?
to
Is this
1.
just game number? It may be just game number 5.
It's game
Oh
number
yeah, because
5.
we're yeah, that's right. Because we're leading 3-1. That's right. Yep.
Yeah, and our studio audience they all have masks.
They all have masks.
Yes.
And they're
They do.
cheering.
We
And
were
they're
just
cheering
talking
about
about
it. Is that a shout out to Dr. Clothier?
Y'all be quiet back there. Y'all be quiet back there.
Okay,
Come on,
yeah,
be quiet.
Our
Hold it down, hold it down.
70s/80s studio audience. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm very
So let's
excited
put
about
more-
the Stars. I would love to see us clinch that tonight and just bust a move. So, no, didn't watch a whole lot of college football. I had a couple of events this weekend, and then also, and I've got my screen ready to share a little bit later because we were celebrating a certain puppy's 1-year-old birthday this weekend.
I know. Kira the cutie.
She's
So,
a
before
mess.
we go to Kira the cutie, so let's go ahead and take you through the evolution right now of the Dallas Stars. Dallas Stars take on the Golden Knights in the Western Conference Finals. They win the first game 1-0. Game 2 hits, the Stars lose to the Knights 3-0. It was 1-1 at that point. Game 3, though, the Stars take over in overtime to beat the Golden Knights 3-2. And then in Game 4, didn't have to go to overtime. The Stars beat the Knights 2-1 to take a 3-1 series lead into Game 5. And that is going to be today at 5 p.m. So if you can get online and support your Dallas Stars. Don't forget, you can also go down to the American Airlines Center
Yes.
for free. Watch
Yep.
a big watch party down at the American Airlines Center for the Dallas Stars. So that
This is
catches you up on the
exciting.
Dallas Stars.
This is exciting, and I've got to go back to last season, and it's so odd because I feel like the season just started, now it's almost over, and we're talking Stanley Cup Finals, and it's just very bizarre, this whole 2020 pandemic situation in sports. But let's go back at the end of last season. Both you and I, and then our dear friend Chris O'Sullivan, who used to do sports with us a lot at one of the radio stations we were at, and we had all said this year it's the Stars' year. So how crazy will it be if in the midst of all the craziness and not even knowing if we were going to have, the NHL for a while, how crazy would that be if we do bring home that trophy? Oh, that'd be awesome.
And again, when you look at the talent down, I'm talking from goalie on up
and
the
goalie's
roster,
huge.
The
Goalie's
Stars are
huge.
just packed full
They
of
are.
talent.
They literally
So,
they are full of stars.
Oh lordy.
But
It's Monday Monday.
Pun day.
Yeah. But
You got Charles at
Pun day.
Monday.
Pun
we
day
are
Monday.
full of stars.
That's funny. So let's go over to the NBA, the Western Conference Finals. That's going on as well. The Eastern Conference Finals are over with. In fact, Game 1 of the Eastern Finals will start between the Celtics and the Heat as they get ready to get underway and get going. That Game 1 between my Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat will be tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. That'll be the conference finals on the East Coast. While the Los Angeles Lakers clean house with the Houston Rockets, they end up winning the series 4-1. Saturday, they put the clincher on when they beat the Houston Rockets 119-96. And so the Lakers will get a few days rest as they wait for Game 7 between the Nuggets and the Clippers. The Nuggets were able to win Game 6 last night, 111-98. And so Game 7 will be tomorrow at 6 p.m. And whoever wins that one will go on and face the Los Angeles Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. And so, Kathy, it's interesting that, like you said, we got the Stanley Cup, we got the NBA Finals. The only thing we're missing now is the World Series.
Right. It's bizarre that everything's it's so odd that, okay, we had, was watching the Astros just the other night, and I know you and myself and Coach Quigley, we were all texting back and forth because at first we were like, oh, Astros, and all of a sudden we're like, wait a second, they've rallied. So we've got that going on. Then we're talking about, the potential of, in Game 5 tonight, clinching the, a spot competing for the Stanley Cup. And then the Cowboys just started yesterday without any preseason games. And then you're talking about it's bizarro world right now. And racing goes on, golf goes on, tennis goes on. The Open, we have two, a male and a female who, if I'm correct, neither one had ever won the Open before. So anyways, it's so bizarre. It's almost too much. Like we had zero sports input. Now it's sports input overload, if that makes sense.
Bizarro world.
Yeah,
yes, it is
we're definitely we're drinking from a fire hydrant on sports now. No doubt about it whatsoever. I'll tell you, talking about drinking from a fire hydrant, how about the Dallas Cowboys defense?
Well, are we not going to talk about people who didn't even watch the game or kind of halfway paid attention to it because they were ticked about the very beginning? Okay.
We can take it whichever way you want. I did not watch the game. I have not watched an NFL game yet this season.
Now, is that because you're busy? I mean, I know you're packing up your parents' house and all that kind of stuff. Or did
I
you
just didn't
pre-strike?
stop to watch it. My dad had the Arizona Cardinals and San Francisco 49ers game up, and I just didn't stop and watch.
Yeah, we had football on in the background all weekend and watched some. My husband watched more than I did. So had to see a little bit of Tom Brady with the Bucks, and that was interesting. Wanted to see the opening, quite frankly, wanted to see what people did, and there was a Dallas Cowboy who knelt during the national anthem, and I hope Jerry fires him today. That's all I have to say about that.
Well, and I think, didn't Jerry have already released a press statement that said that he would not tolerate that, or did he soften that? I
have no idea. If somebody from the crew, please help us out, because again, I have not, and it is what it is. I just have not followed. I have not been an obsessed NFL junkie like I have been in the past. I'm going to tell you something, JP, that's kind of going to say it all. I didn't even bother to put my Dallas Cowboy socks on yesterday during the game, just in case. I kind of was. Here's the thing: you've got somebody like me who's been a diehard Cowboys fan. I mean, since I was a kid. I mean, we grew up, watching the Dallas Cowboys, and gosh, my brother would literally lose his mind, and it was the end of the world if we didn't win. We went to St. Paul's Catholic Church when we were kids, and Roger Staubach's family attended the same church, and we would be so excited. And Charles, you'll get this. The peace be with you part of the mass. If we just got so lucky and we were right behind the Staubach family, we're like, peace be with you, Roger Staubach. And then my brother would be like, this hand shook hands with Roger Staubach. And you know what? I was just, I really wasn't much into the game. It was on. My husband was watching it. I was very disappointed. The other team, they had a bajillion people kneeling and people holding onto their shoulder and all this kind of stuff. And I really hoped that no one from the Dallas Cowboys would kneel. And I don't know. Is Jerry?
Fred
my
said,
question is, I don't know.
Fred said the Cowboys didn't show up. They just they didn't start. They just showed up. And then later he said, Jerry, I guess, made a statement last year. He said, if you kneel during the anthem, you'll be fired. But that was for last year.
Well,
so I don't know what this year's is.
I think Poe, is that his name, number 95? All I know is you know what? If that's still in place, I hope Jerry fires him today. It is what it is, because I was very disappointed. Again, these are people, and I get it. You've got your freedom of speech, and JP, I'm sorry, I'll get off my soapbox. You have your opportunity to do what you want, but when you're making millions of dollars to basically, kick a ball or throw a ball, whatever the ball down the field, and then you choose that particular place, I want to see, where are these people? Are they out in the community? Are they donating tons of money to refurbish these schools that are so horribly, underfunded and mismanaged? Where are you putting your money where your mouth is, besides kneeling for a minute and a half during the national anthem? This country gave you the opportunity to make $1 bajillion doing that. And I do want to, on a side note, and then JP, I'll turn it over to you. Dak Prescott, I was very impressed with him. Came out and talked about his battle with anxiety and depression during COVID, and the fact that his brother, remember, JP, we had reported when his brother died, and we were like, he's so young, I wonder what happened. His brother committed suicide. So he's been very open and honest in hopes of helping other people who are having mental health and mental issue struggles. So I was very impressed with Dak making that kind of pain, that kind of personal pain, public in order to maybe help other people.
Yeah, no, I agree. And there was a lot of commentary in regards to the fact that Dak came clean with, feeling anxiety and feeling the pieces that go with depression. And so again, I think that Herschel Walker kind of led the way, Kathy, when he went through what he went through with bipolar disorder.
Right.
And, teamed up with a doctor in North Texas to write a book and how to fight through that. And Herschel Walker is just a monument when it comes to how to deal with mental health and taking it front. So I'm hoping that Dak has taken a play out of Herschel Walker's playbook, because I'm pretty proud of that young man for doing what he's done on that aspect of it. Because mental health is going to be huge this fall and this winter.
It always is.
It is, but I think even more so, Charles. I think with this pandemic, and we've talked about this, JP, you and I have mentioned this, we have not even hit the tip of the iceberg with the mental health issues and struggles that are coming just from COVID. I literally just read a few minutes ago about a 15-year-old boy in North Texas who committed suicide because he had not been around family, not been around friends, and had any interaction. So mental health it's everything right now. And so good for Dak for standing up and letting people know, hey, you can be a strong, successful person, and you can still deal with mental illness.
Well, and I don't want people to think, because Charles started to make the comment that we don't believe that mental health has been important all along. I started this whole getting involved with radio and media when I started JP and Dr. B for the purposes of
just mental health.
Absolutely. Because nobody in the mainstream addressed it.
Yep.
Well, that's what the whole positive person experience is about. It's about recognizing where people need help and reaching out to them and trying to let them know that we care, no matter what.
Well, and our mental health moment is going to be starting back up here. I believe, hopefully sometime in October. Just because, again, that's such an important part of a discussion that we're not afraid to tackle here at JP, Kathy, and the crew.
We think it's very, very important. And so, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of, talking about mental health in sports and what kind of impact what the NFL is doing, what they've done, will have on fans and where that fan base will go. I know that a lot of fans are very discouraged in regards to what the NFL has done, what the NBA has done. I read something last night, Kathy, I don't know if you saw it, but somebody had gone to Kroger in West Allen.
Mm-hmm.
And when they walked through the line to pay for their food, the attendant was wearing a BLM mask and was very confrontational about it. And she looked at the young man and said, do you think that that's appropriate to wear at work? And he goes, absolutely. And she says, does your manager know you're wearing that at work? And he goes, absolutely he does. And he goes, and I don't care what you think, lady. And she goes, I'm just letting you know that you're alienating a lot of conservatives and a lot of people who are pro-democratic and not pro-communist, because that's what BLM really is.
Well, it's a Marxist group.
Removed.
Yeah.
And he got removed from his register, and they put somebody else there. And the employee apologized to the person at the register and said, I agree. I don't think that wearing that at work is probably the most appropriate thing. But yet, at the same token, you've got the NBA wearing it at work. You've got it on the floor of the NBA. You've got the NFL now basically endorsing the movement of BLM because they're afraid not to jump on the bandwagon.
I would look in the voting booth, JP. And early voting for the November general election is going to be right around the corner because we've got an extended period, at least in Texas we do this time. I would look for there to be quite a few BLM T-shirts in polling places.
Well, I think the athletes need to understand that they are entertainers, just like the movies.
Yes.
And when you do not like a particular movie or you don't like people pushing their politics on you from their movies, you do not go watch them, and it really affects them in the pocketbook. And that's, I think, what needs to happen within the sports area as well. They need to understand they are not people that are doing science or different things like that are trying to impact. They're trying to create entertainment. They're an entertainment venue to try to bring joy into people's lives and to try to remove them from that political statement.
It's
escapism.
Yes.
We want to escape from what the
from
media is already showing us.
Well, and you also want to escape from just the fact that, your everyday life. I mean, I know people who, and I used to be one of these, who you would get together with friends and watch these different games, and especially during the playoff season. And now it's like, it's kind of like the people who I've seen in concert who all of a sudden will get up and make a political statement. I'm like, doggone it. I've done politics every day of my life for 30 plus years. I came to this concert or I'm watching this sporting event to get away from all of the political stuff, one side or the other. And so just entertain me and help me escape. And when you're not allowed to do that, then that's no longer something I'm going to turn to for escapism or entertainment.
Right. It's just the same thing like what happened with Dixie Chicks when they were a group and they made the political statement. They were a very good group. They were great.
Oh, I was one of their ginormous fans, and I haven't listened to them once since.
And
they dogged our president
overseas. People spoke
Yep.
with their money.
And do you ever hear of them anymore? They're not even Dixie Chicks. Now they're the Chicks
or something.
Whatever, yeah.
I mean, that could even potentially
And I was
be
one of their big
derogatory
fans.
if they remove the Dixie because of the BLM stuff.
Yep.
Just call them the Chicks. I mean, that's actually kind of, if you think about it, it's not a very pleasant term to be called a chick as a woman.
I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, here's what we know. What we know is that we're looking for political free entertainment. That's what we're looking for. And that's something we're going to be able to provide you right here on JP Kathy and the Crew, on the JP Kathy and the Crew network, because at 8:30, just 3 minutes.
Oh my gosh, it's almost 8:30.
Wow.
It is. We have a very exciting preview of what's coming your way. And I'm excited about what we've got coming, Kathy.
Very excited. Crystal Griffith, who's just a dear friend of ours, who has been, she's been a friend of ours through politics. We think the world of her mom and her dad. Her dad's been on our show. Her mom's been on our show. She's been on our show. She's brought her her unbelievably talented kids from Creative Arts for Christ on our show as they were going and preparing for their shows at the Eisman Center, which usually they do 2 shows a year out at the Eisman Center, and we have supported them wholeheartedly. Well, everything's changed, JP. It's a different situation, and now we've got and again, you know, God has had such a hand in JP and I taking this leap of faith and going to the format we're doing now and building this network and bringing these incredible shows on. And the very first time we literally went, and JP, we were in our other office in Frisco, and we were just literally, I think we had your camera propped up on a stool and some books, and it was us kind of yelling, and it was like an echo chamber. And we're like, hey, we're starting this new venture, blah, blah, blah. And Crystal immediately sent us a picture of a set that her and her kids had just built and said, how do I sign up? I want to be part of your network. And so this Thursday, she's about to, her and her group are about to be part of it. So it's one of those things. God plays such a big part in all of this. And it's sometimes you just have to let go and let God, JP. And I know you and I know that lesson well. And this was one of those things that I remember immediately I sent you a picture of that studio. And I said, hey, this is from Crystal and her Creative Arts for Christ talented young men and women, and they want to join our network. And we were just thrilled. We were like, oh, again, you know, God's showing us that we're doing the right thing here. So I'm very excited. She should be on here any minute. And yeah, JP, this is going to be kind of fun. Oh, you do? Excellent. Crystal?
Yeah, what I'm excited about is that we're going to be able to provide entertainment
yes,
at a high level, without politicizing or creating a statement other than a statement for God. And I'm all about that. And Crystal is very professional, not only the Eisman, but also off Broadway. She has taken a troupe and has put on a show in New York as well. And so love Crystal and her family. And I think Crystal's with us. Good morning, Crystal.
Good morning, JP and Kathy. How are you?
We're doing well. We're
Good.
super
How are
excited.
you?
I'm doing wonderful.
So tell us what fantastic plans you have for JP, Kathy, and the Crew Network. We are excited.
Oh, we are so thrilled over here. So, I mean, how many stories can we go through of people that have been impacted by COVID? And we are one of those people. So I run a company called Creative Arts for Christ, and we have a theatrical reach here in the Dallas community. We do shows. We've done shows at the Eisman. We've done shows at different churches. We just go all over the area. And we've been operating for about 5 years now. I have a great group of students and adults that have teamed with us. And of course, we couldn't go on with what's happening right now in the world. There's really there's liability. There's a financial risk. There's just what's the right thing to do. All those things coupled together meant that we didn't have the ability to go forward with maybe 3 or 4 months in advance. You have to have that to get a show put up and do it well. And we couldn't do that financial risk. And as you've noticed, most every other theater can't do it either. I've seen so many shows try to start and they've had to close before they could get their show even off the ground because of COVID. And it just keeps happening. So, Broadway shut down right now. They're shut down through the rest of the year. And so we said, what do we do? What do we do? And then I talked to Kathy and I found out about your new endeavor. And it seems like 2020 has thrown us so many wonderful, interesting, and crazy surprises. But there may be good things that we can take from this tragedy. And one of them is that we are also redefining ourselves. So we have created a troupe of actors. I've gone through an audition process. This has taken weeks. I mean, this is not what we have usually been doing. We've done live shows. But for years, I've wanted to put on like an SNL type show.
But an
and I love
appropriate
SNL.
one. Yes,
Right.
appropriate one
Right.
for your age
Clean.
group.
Exactly, and that's what I've all these years I've been working with kids, and I have found something very true about entertainment. I'm a big fan of old time like radio shows and TV shows. Back then, they were just funny for sake of being funny. They did not have to pull any dirty punches. It was clean and it was original content. So I've thought, what if you took SNL, that idea of all this original stuff that you're writing and people performing in a troupe, and you did it in a fashion where it was appropriate? I mean, why not just marriage those two ideas together? So now we have this opportunity. And since we come from a faith-based background, everything we do is going to be clean. It's going to be just funny. And then all these kids, I talk to them, they don't have anything going on right now. I mean, they're just going to school at home.
Right.
And I mean, I asked them, I said, okay, I need to know your schedule. And every year I would have a litany of things that come up on an audition sheet. And this should be going, well, I come home and no, I'm already home. I stay home and I walk the dog.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they're so excited.
I can do something like this.
Right. They're so available, and it's kind of a sad thing. But then I go, well, you're available. That's great, and they're incredibly excited. I've had students that would submit auditions, fully executed animation stuff. I mean, just like they've edited everything themselves, and they're 6th or 7th grade. I didn't know that when I was that age, but yeah. So they're so incredibly talented, and we have an opportunity to redefine ourselves and to move forward during this time and not stay at home and just sit around, because that does nothing for anyone. And in fact, it all these studies are going to show how bad of a thing that is psychologically. So we're here to bring laughter and joy and fun into people's lives. That's what we're about. And we're so happy to partner with y'all to do that.
Well, and we feel
So, Crystal,
incredibly
tell everybody-
blessed to have you on the show, and we can't wait to see these talented kids.
Tell everybody how they can find you and find out more about you and
Sure.
these amazing actors and actresses that you have coming on. How do they find you?
Yes. Well, of course, originally we were with Creative Arts for Christ. We have a website, creativeartsforchrist.com, where you can see what we have done in the past, but we've had to redefine ourselves, as I say. We are called, drumroll please, the Punchline Players. We love a good joke, and you've got to get to the punchline to enjoy your joke. So we are the Punchline Players, and you can find us at punchlineplayers.com. Also, we have Punchline Players on Facebook and on Instagram. Just search for the name, and you will find us.
Crystal,
That's
I'm
so
so glad you joined us
fantastic.
today,
That's so
because you know what today is, right? Today is Pun Day Monday. Pun Day Monday.
Oh,
So
there you go.
do you have any puns
Pun.
for us?
How many puns for you?
One.
Yeah, do you have a pun?
I know. I don't have enough coffee in me yet. I mean, my fun is I have a coffee cup with water in it from Starbucks.
Oh, there we
you
go.
No one any good.
There we go. That's a good
That's
pun.
not helping anyone.
helps.
I love it. And this is so exciting. I mean, this really is, Crystal. And we're talking about mental health, and we're talking about during COVID. How if you have that faith that you can draw from, you can be creative, you can be resilient. And, this is something Dr. Good, who's our education expert, has done with her campuses, her charter school campuses. And that is take lemons and make lemonade and have better practices, best practices, have new opportunities in place. This is one of those things I would imagine, even once y'all can get back on the stage, this is another way for more kids through a Christian avenue to be part of a talented troupe. But maybe if they've got, if they play a sport or they're in some kind of, on some type of academic, team at school, they can't do the on stage. Once we go back to doing on stage performances, they can't do that. But this is something they could tune in, and once a week they could do, or once a month. You've opened up literally an entirely new avenue and a new revenue source for Creative Arts for Christ. So good for you.
Oh yeah, well, I sure hope so. And also about this, we can do it with children and young adults. I mean, this troop there's only a few small kids in this. Really, it's mostly high schoolers because we're all writing content together and they're executing it alone in their room. So, I mean, talk about reaching out from my standpoint to direct them. It's crazy. But we have one of our actors is in Austin, and she's green screening with her best friend in Richardson. And that's how she's in these shows. We would never be able to reach her. She moved from Dallas. And we have other students interested in other states now. And if they get on board, they'll be able to do this from their own homes. And we would never be able to do that with them.
Raise your left hand. Raise your left hand. Okay. Now point to your left. Point to your left. No, to your left. There you go. There you go. Now you're pointing to your website, which I have up on the screen.
She takes direction well. She is a director herself.
Yes, but I forget my rights and my lefts because of stage directions. Yes. They missed long ago.
Stage right. Yes, stage real right. Left.
So stage right, I guess. Is that correct?
Tell everybody when you're getting ready to launch on the JP, Kathy, and the Crew Network.
Yes, well, this is the Red Letter Week. We will be airing this week, September 17th. That's a Thursday at 7 p.m. So we would love everyone to come out and watch. Our show is for people of all ages. There's humor in it, okay? So anyone of any age is going to love this. But we have students from like third grade up to mostly juniors and seniors. So they're kids performing for other kids, things that are relevant to their time frame right now.
So if you want to learn about kids and what they're thinking right now, this is a great place to tune in for sure.
That is absolutely right. Yes. That is correct.
That is fantastic. I know I'm excited and was excited when you reached out, because this, I think, is something that can take off and really make a difference in people's lives. And so cannot thank you enough for the impact you're about to make on a lot of people.
And go to that website above her head where she points up.
Point up.
Point up.
Yes. Right.
I love it.
And I will briefly say too that, we have cast this, although we still have some opportunities. If people watch this and they go, I'd love to get my kid involved, it's not too late. It's not too late. So on the website, there's an email, you can contact me. But we have another great opportunity, and because I have 12 actors in this troupe, but I've had shows with like 40, 50 people. We're doing old-time radio shows, and that will be launching for this fall. We have auditions that are opening up this week. So if you see something, parents watching, and you like it, you go, my child wants to be involved. I'm really tired of things getting canceled. We're not canceling. We're going on.
Love it.
So look at the website. We have about 5 different shows: Sherlock Holmes, War of the Worlds, Father Knows Best, stuff that, my grandparents grew up on. And actually I grew up on too. I didn't grow up with anything but that. So it's all I know. And it still is all I know. But amazing scripts and sound effects and everything we're going to throw in there, and a chance to even perform on radio.
Yeah, I just pulled up some of your past productions: Miracle on 34th Street, High School Musical, Once Upon a Time,
and we've had
The Music
kids,
Man.
Yeah, we've had
The
kids
Lion
from
King.
all of those casts in our studio, and just, I mean, literally the level of talent, Crystal, that you have is unbelievable. I mean, when you see these, I mean, they're kids, they're young adults and kids, and you're like, you're dumbfounded with the talent. It's just amazing. Just amazing.
It is. I'm trying to think, was I that good when I was that age? I mean, I don't know if it's the internet now or something, but kids are so much more savvy than I felt I was when I was growing up. And like when we're writing these scripts, we're writing, and we work with them. And they write too. And so some of the students, I give them fully executed scripts, like look here, do this, and it's set up. Some of them are bullet points because they're so good, Kathy. They just take the bullet points and they go, okay, here's the beginning, middle,
and they run with it.
And they got it. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll see what happens. And I love it. So it's timing. It's everything. And this stuff like this makes people better at so many different aspects of life. People go, I've never acted before. Well, first of all, come check us out, because we'll entertain you whether or not you want to act.
Exactly.
But if you would like to act, think about this. I mean, I've had to grow up and be like an adult in this adult world and go and you have boardroom meetings. What about your family at home? Like you're an adult, okay? And you have to negotiate that pay raise. And if you don't, you got to go find another job. And your family at home is like on the other line of the phone, like, did you make it? Did you do it?
Yeah.
Courage, determination, leadership skills.
It's
all those things
it's communication.
are what you are taught.
And it doesn't matter, you know, Crystal, in any venue, any avenue of life, you have to be able to effectively communicate or else you're done. It doesn't matter what your job is. It doesn't matter if you work with just yourself at home. You're always somehow connected with somebody, part of a team. And what a great resource. Well, we look forward to Thursday night like nobody's business. We'll be there with bells on.
Thank you,
7
Kathy.
And
p.m.
you don't even have to. You don't
Hold
have to.
on.
Go ahead, John.
Hold on. So, Crystal, I got to be savvy. Tell me, give us a little sneak peek into Thursday night. What are we going to get? Just give us a little nugget.
Okay, a little nugget. We will have a couple of, we've got a lot of comedy sketches already just ready to go for y'all. We have one young man, very tiny young scientist. This will be the opening, so you got to make sure you're there on time because you want to see what he does in a kitchen with things that explode.
Oh my!
I don't have that
Now
sound
that
effect.
sounds entertaining.
Ooh,
Oh, we can't wait. Well, we'll see you Thursday night.
scary.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
Crystal.
you.
But
Okay.
you don't
Thank
have
you,
to
Crystal.
necessarily. You don't have to be on screen either. You could just do voices. You can talk like this if you want to.
Oh
Yes.
no! Shut it down. You're too
Shut
old
it
for
down.
Creative Arts for Christ.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Crystal.
PunchlinePlayers.com. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Thank you. All right, Thursday night, 7 p.m.
How
on the JP Kathy and the
exciting.
Crew Network. Tune in. You do not want to miss the entertainment that's going to come out of this group. I mean, Crystal does an
So
amazing
pumped.
job, and the kids that she prepares do an amazing job as well. And you just don't want to miss it 7 p.m. Thursday night.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, just we can't wait. Just very blessed to have Crystal and her team as part of our network. If you're interested in being part of our network, give us a shout, comment, message us, text us if you've got our cell phone numbers, email us. Just come on out and see us here at Venture X. Take a tour.
And you can email us at jpkathyandthecrew3@gmail.com. And so very excited to have that on the platform. We've already got the lawyer show that goes on from 12 to 1. We are launching Brunch with Ben from 10 to 11 on Thursdays.
That's this Thursday on Constitution Day. Yeah.
12 to 1. Yeah, that's this Thursday. And then, of course, we've got
Ask Dr. Good,
Ask Dr.
right?
Good.
Yep.
Sundays at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Just
And then
amazing.
we've got our financial team.
Oh,
Steve and
yes.
Gail Meeks
Getting ready to
go live
start. Yeah.
as well on Thursday mornings.
Very exciting. So just and several other shows in production that we'll be talking about as we move forward with those. Just we're having a great time. We really are. Come join us. And we've got a couple of military shows. 1, 2, maybe 3 that are veteran based that might be starting here in the next month or so and into the new year. So get on board early. Prices are extremely reasonable because we're still in literally, JP, it has just barely been 30 days since we launched this network and ended up having this incredible relationship with Venture X out here with Chance and with Leon, who's the owner. And then Leon, on Wednesday, we're going to be talking to Leon's wife, Lisa, and she's going to be talking about a new venture that we're super excited about. So just good stuff.
I just have to say, Crystal, I think, was a very positive person experience.
When you meet her, amen. When you meet her, you cannot help but be motivated and uplifted when you talk to Crystal. That's just who she is. Every time I talk to her, even if I get a text from her and I'm like, oh, Crystal, because she's one of those people that just injects positive energy and all that's good. And she is definitely a living example of a wonderful Christian woman who is taking her talents and helping other people. Wouldn't you agree, JP?
I do. I absolutely agree. And Kathy, I'll tell you, it's a good time too. Right now, we're driving into Tucson,
Yes.
and Kathy, I see smoke just pouring across the desert coming from the California forest fire.
Wow.
How is it? So describe it. You know, it was odd. If anybody watched any of the Cowboy game yesterday, you know, they were obviously out in California, and just the sky. It's just it's not right out there. And
No.
JP, I
And
mean,
so
my
my
goodness,
aunt was
what's going on?
delayed.
I was gonna say, well, your aunt, y'all had a big travel and health issue with her, right?
We did. We were supposed to be on the road yesterday, heading back, and my aunt was supposed to be coming out to kind of hang out with my dad. And because the particles or particulates were so high on the amount of ash dropping in from the sky, it's almost like snow or rain, she said. Her headache, she got a real bad headache. The breathing in the area, at least the Fresno County area, the Cave Creek, is real bad. And it's so visual that it's almost like you're watching a movie, Kathy. It's so bad. She ended up not driving out or catching an airplane. They're waiting till today, and I think they're going to try to drive out. But she said that visibility even becomes impaired at night because of the way your headlights will hit the ash and hit just this cloud that just lingers over the San Joaquin Valley and in other parts of the state of California and Oregon. But the forest fires this year are out of control. Now, again, what's interesting is everybody's blaming climate control or climate change. I'm sorry, not climate control, climate change. And really what it comes down to is management of the forests. It comes down to the fact that we have put so much burn repellent out there that it's causing an issue. Because remember, before the 1800s, California would burn 14.8 million acres annually just to naturally kind of clean out everything.
Right.
And we don't allow that anymore. And so this is, the last number I looked at, Kathy, was 2.3 million. I think that has gone up.
It has.
It's in California.
It says in California, where fires since last month have charred over 3.2 million acres and destroyed about 4,000 structures. The number dead reached 22 on Sunday. Now that's in California. That's not in Oregon. It's horrific out there as well. I think have there been, and somebody please correct me if I'm remembering this incorrectly, but I think I'd read an article where 33 had perished in the fires in Oregon.
That is
just
correct.
that entire West Coast is just, it's on fire. I mean, it's burning. It's horrible.
Yeah. And so, again, we're seeing that. So one day while we were in Phoenix, there was the sun, but you couldn't see it due to all the smoke because the Santa Ana winds had blown in and started blowing across from the west to the east, and it blew it into the Phoenix area. The smoke was so bad.
Right.
And we had a friend we were supposed to have lunch with, but because of her breathing issues, she couldn't get out of her home.
And that's, I would imagine, what do, and as somebody who has asthma and has a nebulizer breathing machine at home, I don't, it would almost, I would think you would almost at some point, because you can't, like seal yourself off. It's almost like you would have to leave and go to another state or another part of the state. And I think I want to correct myself. It said wildfires raging in the West have killed at least 33 people, with dozens other missing and tens of thousands more. And it's in all three states, California, Oregon, and Washington, as they're forced to flee their homes. It says the death toll is likely to climb. God, it's just devastating. Just devastating, JP.
It is, and we'll continue to update everybody, and I'll continue to give a first-person reaction to what's going on out there as well. Because I said I've got family that's in the middle of it. They're watching the Sierra Nevadas burn. And the Sierra Nevadas.
Are you smelling it as you drive? Are you smelling the burnt?
Yeah, can y'all? Is that any of that smoke or anything y'all's way?
It's higher up.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we can't smell it. It's higher up. It's like a haze over the mountains. And it wasn't until we were about 28 miles out of Tucson when we started to see it. It's in the Tucson area.
Okay.
If I could have gotten the video, I would have shown you outside of my window what it looks like. But I went from clear to all of a sudden this smoky haze across the mountains and across the desert. So it's very sad that what's going on, and our prayers go out to all the families. We saw pictures,
Absolutely.
Kathy, you and I, where it looks like, it looks like it's the making of a zombie apocalypse.
Well, it's just it's so hard to believe that this is our country, and I don't, the people on the West Coast, God bless them, and especially in California. I mean, since I've been doing radio with you and been on the air with you, and it's over 5 years now. Every year we've reported this. Every year it's gotten worse. My goodness, somebody take care of. You use those massive taxpayer dollars and proactively take care of the people who you have sworn to take care of. We're talking about people having to worry about, and fire just seems like such a horrific thing. And then we're also, we haven't even talked about the first responders, and we have even a North Texas first responder who perished in the fires, and people who, you see the pictures of these firefighters, these men and women coming out of these horrific areas. God bless them. How
Absolutely.
I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, I don't either. And they've got families that they leave to go out and take care of this. So
They do.
my heart goes out to them. My heart also goes out to you and I, Kathy, on something a little more trivial, less important. You ready for this?
What is this?
And I couldn't believe it. The peeps are gone.
Oh, yes. This is, yeah. And I don't know if there's enough time. I want to hear, first of all, does anybody else eat Peeps? Like my mom, I'm 53. My mom still gives me Peeps. She gives my kids Peeps, and they just on the side, sorry, Mom, but they give their Peeps supply to me. Like, I love that. That's been one of my favorite candies since I was a kid. And then all of a sudden, my husband told me this week, and he's like, get ready for an article I'm going to send you. Peeps have not made it through COVID.
Right.
And then I find out you're a Peep fan as
COVID.
well. You're a Peep fan as well.
I love Peeps. Are you kidding me? I refrigerate them and set them out for an hour to let them rest.
Yeah, no, I didn't
So
know
I
about the
can
whole
continue.
refrigeration thing. I'm still, okay, I'll have to see. Well, we can't see
I
because there are
preserve-
none.
Right. I preserve my Peeps. But boom, by the way.
Yeah,
that was
okay.
Monday.
Yeah, where's his drum roll for
Sorry,
that?
sorry. I was trying to get the.
Yeah.
But again, it's just,
screenshot up there for you.
I would like to see how many members of the crew that Peeps were involved in your childhood or is it something you give your kids? I'll never forget the Easter Bunny one year at our house left orange chocolate covered strawberries that looked like carrots in Oreo a dirt patch, and there were Peeps and Peeps bunnies in this patch as well. And that's what the Easter Bunny brought the kids one year when they were younger. Peeps are like a staple. They're Americana. They're pop culture. And now, again, another company that's
you remember-
struggling because of COVID.
Well, they came out with Ghost Peeps, remember, for Halloween.
There's
Ghost Peeps,
yes, and at
Veg
Christmas.
Peeps.
I mean,
Yeah,
you've
and they've got the marshmallow
reindeer,
ones
you've
up
got
there
a-
now.
You've
Whoop.
got them all, and now it's like,
Yes.
Peeps have become like a year-round thing. And I was just, I was just shocked when I heard about this. Again, COVID devastates in another way, and I don't know. Shame on us. I think that's horrible. I think it's horrible.
We need holiday Peeps all year round. That's all I'm saying.
Aren't they just marshmallows?
Hey, easy,
Okay.
Big Daddy. They're
I'm
much
sorry.
more than
I am hoping I did not hear what I think that was. I misheard
Yeah,
something. So yeah. So
Yeah, I'd be throwing coffee at him or something.
Charles, you may want to bust a move out of this studio real quick, because do not ever say again, ever
I never-
that Peeps are just marshmallows.
I never saw the fascination. I'm sorry.
Now,
Oh my gosh.
somebody else that's going to be busting a move and going to be on Point of View is our very own Kathy.
Yay! Oh, love Kirby Anderson and the Point of View team. I will be on the the Point of View radio show today, co-hosting with Kirby Anderson from 12 to 1. So catch us on 1160 a.m. or on the Point of View radio talk show YouTube page, and we can chit chat back and forth. So super excited. They're starting their Truth Team this week, and we're doing some fundraising, and just very excited. A great Christian radio show that gives you the arrows in your quiver that you need to go out there and support God nowadays, because it gets tougher and tougher all the time. And the more knowledge you have,
Look to the other camera.
which this
There
one.
you go. Yeah, talk to that one.
Hello. Okay. Hello. So the more knowledge you have that is faith-based, you are able to better equip yourself and know what's going on out there. So very excited to be hanging out and co-hosting the Point of View radio talk show with Kirby today.
There we go.
And then can I share
Gotta love that.
Thank you. And thank you for that plug, JP. I appreciate that. Can I share my screen?
Yes.
Okay,
you
because-
want me to pull
You
that up
better.
now?
Well,
Or Carol will be disappointed.
end. Yeah,
There we
she's
go.
like, okay.
Oh no.
Oh, look.
no.
Oh,
Oh.
no, that's not a want. That's a happy.
Oh, is that
Somebody turned
oh,
one
wait, where
this
is it? Where
past
is it?
week.
I'm trying to find it.
It needs to
Where
be
is
cheer,
Where is
lots
Where
of
is Where
cheers.
is it?
So Kira, our little
It's
puppy,
happy birthday to
Oh, wait,
Kira.
I'm sorry.
Kira, who turned 1. Let's see. I've got here's another really cute one right before she. Okay, wait. This is one of those
I'm
deceiving
still looking
pictures.
at your screen.
Oh, I know, but I've got to show you. Well, I'm trying to find the one. Oh, here it is. This one right here was hilarious because, if anybody's met Kira, and I know JP has met Kira, he has experienced Kira. So this one looks like, oh, look, she's posing for a picture.
Mary Berry Hibiscus.
Hey,
Ooh,
he's
are you there?
ordering. He's ordering. Hold on.
Ooh,
Okay.
ooh.
So this one's very deceiving because literally within seconds, she snatched that little pink party hat. And yes, my husband and I did go to Hobby Lobby and bought 1-year-old birthday plates and decorations and a
Oh, my
party hat.
gosh.
And then we went to Petco and she got all of her favorite treats. And it was crazy to the point my kids are like, oh my gosh, this dog is so spoiled. And we're like, that's how it should be.
So your kids were like,
Yeah, that's when she snatched the hat. So thanks for letting me give a shout out to Kira. And it's so fun. I don't know, during this
you getting
pandemic,
ready to
I
order?
literally don't know what we would have done without her. So I love you, Kira. Mwah.
are you getting ready to
Are y'all
order, John?
ordering?
No, we were stopping. I was looking. I thought it was on mute because I was getting ready because we can't
Yeah,
go
it
through the
wasn't.
drive-through because I've got a trailer behind me
Oh, you can't go through drive-through.
Are you getting out?
because I'm pulling a
Okay.
trailer.
Well, see if they
So I've
want to
gotta do it
sponsor us
through
since
the-
they've gotten a plug.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm having to do it through the app.
Oh.
You're
So that's
physically
what you're-
at a Starbucks, but you have to do it through the app. Help me out on that.
I got to do it through the application. But let's see. I am stopped now.
Ooh, there we go.
There I am.
Hey!
There's
There's
there he
JP
is, there
live
he
and in
is.
person. Woohoo! Wait, which camera am I
See,
waving
I
to?
wasn't
This one?
driving. See,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
the
yeah,
driver's
that one.
seat. I'm not driving.
Hello. Oh.
Yeah, just put a little stop off on the other end of Tucson. We're going to get a little coffee and,
Get a little caffeine kick going.
yep, Courtney's taking the dogs out to go to the restroom. And then on our way back to Dallas. But yeah, I
Where's that
can't go through
smoke
the
cloud?
drive-thru and do a live experience with our Starbucks barista.
You had that smoke cloud. You were going to show us that
It's
smoke
about there.
cloud.
Oh, yeah, I wonder if you can see it. Let me see if I can turn my camera around. I can. Look over the top of that Walmart. Can you see the mountains
What mountains?
back there?
With the sun, I think it's too
kinda-
bright.
I was gonna say, the
But oh yeah,
sun's-
we see a little bit now. A little bit.
Let me see.
It's almost like a silhouette if you
Yeah.
can see it.
Yeah, just
And-
barely a
and
silhouette.
that's- Yeah, it's like almost like a brown silhouette. And that's how high the smoke is. It's coming across the valley here in Tucson.
Wow.
So, and again, it's pretty crazy the way that it's working and doing all of that. And
So that haze is from the smoke. I mean, that's
Yeah, it's from the fires in California. So,
unbelievable.
yeah,
That
not fun
really is
stuff.
devastating.
Not
That
fun
really
stuff
is
here as that
devastating.
continues to go across the valley.
Well,
Oh,
take a note as you're coming back, how far that smoke continues. If it gets to Texas, or where does it get to?
yeah,
I
I'd
guess
be
it's
anxious
just- I'm
to
gonna
see
see
if it
how
reaches
far
El
back y'all
Paso.
can see it. Yeah, and it very well may. And speaking of the El Paso area, we are going to have another Miss Texas ambassador on with us this Wednesday. So stay tuned. And I think she's coming on at 8:00. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Susan Schuler. But one of again, we've the Miss Texas pageant looks very different this year because we've got Chandler, who is our current Miss Texas, who is reigning for 2 years. And then in the meantime, there are opportunities that the new Miss Texas would be taking advantage of and representing our great state. But that hasn't happened because of COVID. So there are a group of young ladies, incredible young ladies, very talented, beautiful inside and out, smart ladies. We had Miss Plano on a couple of weeks ago, and so every couple of weeks we're going to have another Miss Texas ambassador on, and she'll be talking about what she is doing and the influence she's making out there in the great state of Texas. So that's Wednesday. So good
And then
stuff.
we also have Chairman West
Oh,
from the
yes,
Texas
Colonel
Republican
West.
Party.
Excellent. So Wednesday's going to be
So
a big
at 8:30
show.
on
Wednesday will be a big show. Well, and we've got
And you'll be back in studio, right, John?
yeah, JP will be back.
And I'll be back in
So
studio.
we'll be having big
And we
fat
may have
fun.
Congressman Van Taylor back with us as well.
Oh,
Oh,
we need,
wow.
yep,
On
we need to talk to
Wednesday.
him. So it's going to be a very, very busy day. And here's the thing: politics. You're going to hear a lot of that over the next 50 days because we're 50 days out from the election. Can't wait to talk about how many doors we've knocked on. We're nearing 20,000 doors since July here just in Collin County, and something that JP and I are going to be talking about hopefully on Wednesday, and that's the extreme differences in the Trump campaign, which trickles all the way down, like we say here, from the White House to the courthouse. And the Biden campaign has not been knocking on doors. The Trump campaign, I mean, we've been doing that for weeks and weeks and weeks now. And we need to see if that's going to make a difference in November. I'll be anxious to see what kind of a difference that makes.
Absolutely. So stay tuned for Wednesday as we have a packed show. And don't forget, you can catch the rebroadcast from 11:30 to 1 p.m. here. And then again, don't forget to tune in Thursday for all of our great shows on the JP Kathy and the Crew Network, starting off with Steve and Gail Meeks when we launch their financial show, to Brunch with Ben this Thursday. Benjamin Franklin will make his
Constitution Day, I believe
debut.
that is.
From 10 to 11
Was
a.m.
that
this
planned?
Thursday. And we've got the Lawyer Show with Jeremy Rosenthal from 12 to 1.
Yeah, great
and then we'll
show.
be launching
That was a great show last week.
that we'll be launching our very own version of Saturday Night Live at 7 p.m. on Thursday night. So
With
thank you for tuning in.
with
and
creative
have a
arts for
very blessed day.
Christ. Have a blessed one. Hey, travel safe,
Have
JP.
a
Love
blessed day.
y'all.
Thank you. We'll see you back Wednesday.